On this episode of the Change Agent Podcast, I'm excited because we're taking the topic of selfless server and we're going to identify a hero in our community that's not only creating a brand for himself that puts a spotlight in other organizations, but he's working for a commercial real estate firm that truly puts service in front of everything it does. So it's an honor to have another change agent on this podcast, Noah Barrasso. He's a member at Kaiser, founder of #Noah.com, someone that's truly inspiring a lot of people here in our city, both personally through the relationships he has and the platform he's built out, but also through his profession and the commercial real estate firm Kaiser. So stick around, guys. You're going to love this one. And a quick shout out to my Vancouver Canucks who kick off their season tonight and are on a quest for the Stanley Cup. Let's watch. Welcome to this episode of Change Agent, making a real difference in real estate. I'm excited about this conversation because in our industry in real estate, and you'll soon meet my guest who's in the same field, just in a different category, it's easy to use the term service and selfless service. But oftentimes our actions actually prove that we're using those to serve ourselves and not our clients. And I'm excited about this because my guest, Noah, with Kaiser, and his firm have really taken it that next step. And not only are just saying the words of selfless service, but living it out and experiencing amazing levels of success. And I'll let him explain what success means with that term. But in residential real estate, I'm constantly using the term service, but I always want the hero to be my clients. And I always want the hero to be the community, not necessarily the transaction. And I've been watching you and watching kind of the brand you've been building through different creative outlets and watching the success the company has had. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert in commercial real estate, but I know it's a giant of an industry here. Right. It's very cutthroat. And it's cool to see someone doing it differently and then experiencing success through it. So I wanted to introduce Noah Barrasso. He's a member at Kaiser here locally, and just have him be a part of the show because he is what I like to call a change agent in our community and truly making a difference. And thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, dude. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it. I've been a huge fan of what you guys are doing. It's kick-ass too. And am I alled to say that word?
You're allowed to.
I'm allowed to say that word. Okay, so.
Yeah, this is.
But no, you're doing some great stuff too. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you. So obviously you've been in the business for a while. What has that always been the play for you? Was commercial real estate kind of the path from the early days, or?
Yeah, I'll give you the quick background of me. So I grew up in Tucson, which is obviously not too far from here, and I come from one of the most loving family. I'm one of the blessed ones who my parents are together and have amazing siblings, and my folks were just so much all about service and giving people the shirt off their back and helping them any way they can. So in my background and my DNA, that's truly who I am. And you know, I graduated college in 2005, and I kind of did the fraternity thing down at U of A. So we were living, you know, the dream life, and some older, say, fraternity brothers graduated with a 2.5, 2.7, whatever, and moved up to Phoenix or LA, and we're making six figures or second or third year in the industry. And I said, well, what are you guys doing, and how do I do that? So I eventually moved up here. At the time, I was dating a gal, and my background's in art. So my dad helped support me, so I moved up in 2008, and here's this, you know, huge recession that came looming its ugly face. And at that time, you know, making a couple bucks in research at a commercial real estate company, I thought, you know, heck, that was amazing. And then I joined into the world of commercial real estate and really realized, you know, this is a cutthroat industry, and the competition wasn't even other companies, it was within your own walls.
Interesting.
And it was like, what can I do, whether it's cold calling, showing up and presenting to people to get their money from their pockets into mine? And I got good at that. But again, this isn't what my background is. I'm used to a family of service, like I said, and growing up that way. But you have to kind of adapt to that personality or you're going to get ran over. And so I did. And I got really good at the cold call and the sales, and wasn't a huge fan of who I became. And then I met Jonathan Kaiser, our founder, who introduced me to a whole new world of, you know, how do you go above and beyond for someone regardless of self-interest? And it's that giving you shall receive mentality is the best way to do business, right? If I say, what can I do to help Tim, regardless of real estate, and that's genuinely what is the best interest of both of us in the long term, how can I do that and, you know, experience success from that? If I can help you in real estate, awesome. If not, what else can I do to be a service to you? So, you know, long-winded answer there, but yeah, that's kind of the premise of what we do. It's, changing our business world through selfless service and what is a cutthroat industry known as commercial real estate. So,
it's interesting because real estate, there's so many agents, if you will, but, I think on so many levels we want to compare each other to our, what I like to say, our resumes,
right?
Our levels of success, whether that be transactions or total volume or, commissions earned. I don't think that's value in a sense of what the marketplace or what the consumer wants. They want to know that you care about them. And that goes beyond just your ability to get them the best deal.
Totally.
It's about the relationship you can build that's deeper and more meaningful. And when I started Homes for Good, when I got into the business 2 years ago, it wasn't about how can I quickly become the number one agent. I saw a competitive marketplace, maybe not as cutthroat as yours, but differentiation was key to me. And I started thinking, what is it from my past, being in the sports world and branding of Red Bull, that I can integrate into my relationship with this city? And not having been here for a long time, I know you're U of A, I'm ASU, but I had to build a network.
Right.
And to build a network, you got to build real relationships, right? And it was looking beyond, anyone that walked into an open house, but it was look at the local businesses here, look at the nonprofits here that are really making this city great, really putting the work in to help others. And I have access to everybody, if you will. Everyone has a relationship with real estate, so why not add additional value? And that to me is kind of where service really started to resonate. And as I've just want to keep growing and growing, it's inspirations like yourself. It's like Kaiser that are doing things differently and achieving success that make me want to continue and to invest into more than, how many sales I've done this month or how many total commissions or volume, but how I can use my platform to help.
Totally. And I appreciate that. And it's funny. Everyone has this sense of service, right? It's whether it's at home, whether they kiss their husband or wife goodnight, their kids, they're an amazing human being, and they have friends outside of work, and they treat them with a certain respect, and they're not trying to chase or get something from them. But it's like the second they get into those walls, especially in a world like mine, and I'm sure a little bit like yours too, the gloves come on, and there's no trust, and their goal is just commissions, numbers, and what can I do to get my income up? It's not that hard to say, how do I treat someone like a friend? The second there's a dollar sign connected to that person where there's a potential transfer of money, like I alluded to earlier, people just get weird, and it's all about sales and closing that person. It's like, regardless if we get the sale or not, regardless if I am ever that person that helps you with your real estate, like what else can I just do to help you? Yeah. If it's it's an entrepreneur, are they trying to raise some capital? Let me make some introductions for you. Hey, we're in the market to find a new CFO. Hey, I'm looking for a new job. Who can you introduce me to? It's just trying to get creative with it, and that's half the fun too, right? It's like, well, what can I do to serve them? I had a cool conversation with them. Let me go back to my desk and think of some ways to help them or their family, or they may have dropped some hints of something where they might be having some pain in their life. But it's literally just treating people like human or friends, and that's very challenging for people in cutthroat industries when it's a commission based and numbers based. I want to be number one. I want to be the best. And then they go home and now they're that person that, just be that person in your office place too. It's not that hard. So
my business partner, James Wexler, he just was recognized by the Business Journal as the #1 agent in the state of Arizona. He didn't get there overnight. And I've been able to watch through his ability just to create lasting relationships. If you build equity in each relationship, more will come.
Right.
And he's been like a testament to that for me personally in the business without having to spend all this extra, marketing money to really brand himself. And, I believe now the industry changing so much that we need to be a little more creative. And, that's where I kind of want to segue now is I've watched what you've created with #Noah. I think it's brilliant because you're using the media platform to differentiate, create more of an awareness around your voice, your mission, your why, to get people to better connect with you, and then in turn you'll be able to help them because they'll better understand. So if you would tell us a little bit about what you've built with #Noah and kind of how that came to.
Yeah. So even those who are watching, and even to yourself, commercial real estate is not something most people are involved with. It's not that sexy. You're talking about cap rates or market rates or, where are trends going. Other than maybe a handful of people within an organization, other people really don't care as long as they have a desk to go to. So my goal is how do I approach commercial real estate in a way that can get other people excited, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of other people. And from that, it's let's highlight the culture of the people that actually sit in inside these office spaces. So when they do it right, they create an amazing company focused on culture, and then align that culture with the real estate and their office space, so it reflects their culture, and they're getting a amazing flow of transferring of information from one generation to, say, a millennial. You know, that's over 50% of our workforce now. Mm-hmm. So my goal, you know, I have Tour de Tech, which again highlights successful companies who have some, what I say, kick-ass office spaces, and highlighting, if you do it right, this is how your space can look, and how does your culture and your mission statement, how is it reflective in that? And then I have the Martini Shot, which is, you know, that's my fun one. You know, I would be lying if I don't say I don't enjoy mixology and cocktails, and I've found a lot of my clientele does too. So that one's focused on successful entrepreneurs. A lot of them may have had an exit, or, you know, they're successful. They're not a startup person, and a lot of them they have these conversations, and they're in front of crowds, and they kind of say the same story over and over. So I got the idea. Well, let's go to their favorite watering holes and sample some of their favorite cocktails. And then let's just have a heart-to-heart conversation of who you are, who you really are, over some laughs, and just making it fun. And that, my goal with that is to, you know, humanize them first and foremost, especially some of these young entrepreneurs that want to grow up and build an amazing company. And then just show, you know, this is how they did it, and they're human beings like us. And if you do it the right way, and you work hard and tell some funny stories and jokes, that, you know, it's hopefully influences some folks out there, and it's all for good and fun. And, you know, again, it's a way to make real estate, you know, a little bit more relatable, is by looking at the people who are inside those office spaces.
So I like how you talked about kind of creating a conversation from those that have kind of been there and experienced it. You know, I think kind of as younger professionals, if you will, like, you know, we're all, even though we work for a company or brand, we are kind of entrepreneurs, if you will. So just to put yourself in a position to have those conversations regularly, I guarantee is just creating another level of success for you in the work you're doing with Kaiser. So I like that you're taking that approach, and just having honest conversations, because that's when you really, I believe, digest, you know, wisdom. And to put someone in a space where they can just kind of, you know, let their guard down and enjoy their beverage of choice in a place that they feel, like, you know, comfortable, and then honoring them with, you know, just good questions. I think that's really smart. So, and
it's having fun, you know. It's if you're not having fun and being goofy and doing what you love, like what you're doing here is so amazing, you know. I think a lot of people that get into real estate because they know of someone who's driving a Porsche and did it, and whether they like it or not, they go, that's what I'm going to do. So let's go do it. And then fast forward 5 to 10 years, they realize this is a grind. And if they're at a traditional shop, and they're not doing things different and unique, and they're not creating those relationships, it's going to bite them in their butt, man. It's you're going to look back and go, what did I do with my life, and why? For $1? You know, that's why I switched to Kaiser. You know, I said, I got one life to live. And if that life is led by service and helping others, and as a side benefit of doing that positively, I can experience a successful career, both financially and, more importantly, on a personal and kind of spiritual side, if you will. Absolutely. And improve myself. And I'll take that, you know, 100 times a day. So,
yeah, I think it's, you know, I learned pretty quick. I kind of went in with the expectation of it's a marathon, right? It's the end game is not my results of September.
And is there even an end game? There's probably never an end. It's just continuously improving and growing.
Absolutely. And, you know, someone I have a lot of respect for sat me down before and mentioned, you know, real estate can be two things. It can be transactional or relational. And I really took that to heart. But as I got into the business really quick, the relationships quickly became, you know, that person who walks into an open house, you know, the call that came through Zillow. And if I focused just on those immediate conversations, I know I would burn out. Like, I know I wouldn't last. So the idea of kind of going beyond the spectrum of what do I need to do to position myself as a resource or an expert to this one person? How can I use this platform to really elevate the business as a whole? And it quickly became so much more enjoyable, and allows me to appreciate the fact this is a long-term play. And I can sit here, have a great conversation with you. We can have some fun. We don't have a cocktail, but maybe next time we'll incorporate a cocktail.
I don't know what they put in here.
But I think it's just it's a way to show that there's so much you can do with the really unique space that we have. And to really kind of be able to think outside the box is, I think, is critical. But it, more importantly, it gives you kind of peace to know that the results of today aren't going to make or break, you know, what is success to me.
And I think you would echo me. Like, I was nervous at first going and doing something completely different and getting a camera crew and spending all this money investing in myself to go do something. Like,
these lights still trip me
out.
I
mean, I got a lot of friends that busted my chops and still do every time I post something new. But I'm having a blast with it. It looks like you're having a blast with it.
Yeah.
It is creating success, and again, it's about having fun and just taking that leap of faith. It kind of weeds out the people that maybe should not be in your life. But
Yeah.
I mean, if people are thinking about whatever it is, if you're a pizza salesperson or a librarian, whatever that looks like,
Yeah.
and you have a cool creative idea, like go do it. Who cares?
Yeah.
People are gonna find a way to give you a hard time. But
Yeah.
I said just go do it.
And just to continue off that, I was told recently that the right people are out there looking for you.
Right.
So if you go out and do it, whatever that may be, do a podcast, the right people are going to hear it and they're going to be inspired and drawn to it. So, and a lot of times those people aren't who you're expecting, and then you'll be amazed at what comes from that. So it's like never turn down a coffee with someone. Just the ability to have a face-to-face conversation with someone goes directions you could never imagine, right? That direct conversation might not impact you in the moment, but I can't even count how many times just a conversation has led to an introduction and has opened up some doors in my life that
100%.
I would never have guessed, right? So like you're doing, just keep taking chances.
Yeah.
The right people will come into your life if your intentions are always in the right place. And it's cool to be in a city this big, but to have so many kind of inspirations like yourself, like Kaiser, to keep fueling, I think, this city in the right direction.
Oh, we appreciate that, yeah.
And it's kind of fun. You get to work in tech, so I kind of want to go tap into that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I leaned back. You might not have caught that. There's kind of this, the headlines is Phoenix is becoming this tech culture, which I find pretty amazing.
Right.
Having been in the tech space and the sports space, I'm excited to see kind of that creative culture come to Phoenix. Like, is that something that you're seeing on a daily basis? Like these companies are as legitimate as the headlines are saying?
It is, yeah. It's Arizona specifically continues to be obviously a more affordable option, much more opportunities as far as space, and we have some amazing universities here. So talent is making its way up. So a lot of these offices, what we call kind of back offices, people with their sales team, if you will, are coming from the Bay Area, coming from LA, even coming from the New Yorks of the world. And from GPEC to ACA to all the other municipalities have been doing an amazing job, especially Ducey, of really making this ecosystem that's friendly for entrepreneurship. So we are seeing a lot of the tech companies, but what you're also seeing is there's a whole shift. Every company is becoming a tech company, right? That was a hot buzzword 2 years ago. And I'd be lying if I said all my real estate transactions are tech companies, but it is very cool and unique to see the momentum that Arizona's experiencing and other people coming in and piggybacking off that success and moving here and expanding. And I think it's going to continue. I hope it continues. We're doing everything we can to compete with neighboring states and even other states around the country, even different countries. I'm a part of the Arizona Israeli Technology Alliance, and we're seeing a huge inflection of Israeli companies coming to not just the United States, but Arizona specifically. And my friend Lieb over there is doing an amazing job heading that. But Arizona is if we can get our sporting teams a little bit better, then it's one of the more ideal situations. And here we are. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but the weather's shifting right now, and it's an amazing place to be and raise a family. And it's, although rates are going up and prices are going up because people are moving here, it still remains very affordable compared to other places. So great place to be.
Yeah, it's interesting because with people keep asking about is the market going to shift? Are we going to see a pivot in pricing? And my answer is no, because all the signals are telling us the market's just going to get stronger. The influx of people coming in, the job growth, the rental market is booming. The only struggle right now is inventory, but there is a market of buyers that are keeping me real busy. We just need some more inventory. But I think the stability of our economy is just getting stronger and stronger, and it's an exciting time to be here.
It's very exciting, yeah. And I think, working with a lot of entrepreneurs and tech companies specifically, sometimes they do tend to get a little bit in front of their skis when it comes to office space specifically. And, today they're 50 people, and they go, we're going to be 500 people next week. So if you're a tech owner or entrepreneur and you're looking at office space, make sure you take your time and invest your money back into your company first, and then really figure out, okay, where are we going to be? You can fire employees. You can't fire real estate. It's the second or third largest expense within an organization. So really take it serious and making sure you're not doing it just because Uber or Lyft did it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, they want the big sexy space. They want to go and invest a lot of money on this cool space just because there's a ping pong table or, a balcony, but make sure you take your time and do something that's more beneficial for the company, and you'll know the time to get the cool space.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I have to be honest. Like that was kind of my partners and I a couple years ago when we started our platform and we started raising some money. You start to get these ideas in your head, and they're natural, and there's nothing wrong with that. But the realities are you're still so far removed from being able to have that office space. And we tried to be as flexible with our funds in terms of using just some co-working spots. But as we got closer to launching, Pledger is the name of the company, you kind of have blinders on, and you're not quite ready for the world to kind of kick you in the gut. And that's pretty much
and it will.
And it
usually
will.
Does.
And it will. And
that's how you react to it.
And exactly right. And, I think everyone's got to expect that to happen. And it's, like you said, it's how you react. And for us, unfortunately, we couldn't get it there. And, raising capital is a beast in itself. But as an entrepreneur, as someone trying to build something, it's easy to kind of put that spotlight up and kind of just imagine yourself in that space, in that, I can just imagine, in that office setting where you do have the employees and the success is coming. But it doesn't happen overnight, and you're going to take a lot of bumps and bruises. And we took ours, and we fell, but it all was meant for a reason. It all just made someone like myself stronger from the lessons I got from it. It would have been beneficial to have an adviser like you earlier on in our day to be like, guys, here's how to plan out for this. But
take your time. Yeah,
it definitely was a cool experience. And now to be here and to see kind of, the tech scene really starting to grow, it's just kind of fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and it got to you where you are.
100%.
Yeah, it's everything's it's how you look at it, and it could be an amazing lesson, or you can dwell on it for way too long, and I think you're probably a better person because of it.
100%. No, I absolutely agree. And everything does happen for a reason, and I'm doing a lot more in a space that I used to have so much passion for, which is the sports industry. It was a disruptive kind of platform for me my entire life. I always saw it as an opportunity to do more than just go to a game. I saw sport as a connector, facilitator of hope. Of these athletes became inspirational figures and role models and influencers that changed lives, literally, not just entertain us. And I always wanted to be a part of that, and that's why we built Pledger, was to elevate their brand, elevate their equity, and being able to help give back. And Homes for Good is literally an interpretation of what that used to be. We put a donation based off of an athlete's action. We took fantasy data and turned it into a charitable gift. So if I can hold an open house and give $5, it's what I'm supposed to do anyways, to support a great story. Why not? Right. And so it's kind of neat to kind of look back and go, what I learned from that, this is kind of reincarnation, if you will, of what I spent 5 years building and trying to grow, that I thought was kind of my purpose, my legacy, kind of everything I wanted to create. But now I can do more in a space that I'm super excited about, which is real estate.
Yeah. But what would you say then to people listening that want to give back in figure out ways? Because sometimes it's hard to give back in just the sense of giving back. I know a lot of times around the holidays, people want to give back. Next thing you know, they're calling Phoenix Children's Hospital, these other places, and then it's booked out for 5 months, and they can't go volunteer or do something. Yeah. You've obviously done it. You've been successful at it. I can truly say, because you're my friend and I know you, it's a selfless act. It's not so much a marketing tool to show off, hey, I'm helping people. What would you say for people trying to, kickstart that world?
That's a good question. I think understand that you don't need to give a lot to make an impact, and identify those organizations that you feel called to or feel passionate about. I think too often we feel overwhelmed that there's 500 nonprofits right here in my city. Who do I help? And if I can't give $1,000, then what are my dollars worth? Right. I think just knowing the story of the organization, feel like a connection to it emotionally. And it doesn't have to be dollar amount. It can just be time. It can be just an hour a week of volunteer. It can be whatever you want it to be, and allow yourself to determine what that gift is. Right? You don't have to have someone else tell you. So first off, figure out what you care about. For me, when I started, Pledger was around. I saw players as more than just athletes, right? They were role models. They were influencers. They have a platform to truly change lives and communities, and you see it all over. The media won't tell you about it, but if you kind of pull back the layers, you're going to see, lives change on a daily basis because of a relationship maybe a child had with a player or a team. So when I got Homes for Good going, I just naturally went to, organizations that I cared about or had a relationship with that, off the bat, most of them were kind of tied to sports because I, just naturally resonate that way, and just said, where is there a need and how can I help? And I'd love to help create a story around, that need. And if I can bring, the audience that I'm supposed to talk to every day into that story, hopefully we can make an impact. And, I just promise them I'll try to sit 20 open houses. And I'll give you $5 for every open house. And if anyone walks in, could have been an agent with 10 clients, well, that's $11 I'll make on their behalf.
That's so cool.
And it's just a way for me to say, by you showing up today, a contribution will be made on behalf of you just entering this home to support this great organization. And I said, give me your materials, whatever you want to share. I'll be an ambassador for you because you need as much support as you can get. And that way I'm best representing you, your mission and your why, and getting the right conversation started. And I never ask anyone to give. It's not my place to tell anyone to give. But if I can plant a seed at least, then it's worth it.
That's
and
awesome.
It's just kind of grown. And this is a byproduct of it. And it's a way for me to put a spotlight on these organizations and personalities like yourself that truly are differentiators and change agents, if you will, that are doing way more than just, the KPIs of their role, if you will. So, kind of long-winded answer, but just find out what you're passionate about, and then just reach out and see how you can get involved, or find out if there's a need and figure out how you can support that need, whether it's a donation, whether it's a volunteer hour. You determine that, not necessarily the organization. But and then from there, you'll naturally just hopefully grow and kind of expand your abilities to support.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great answer. Even the longer, but it's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But that's what it's about. And, sport, like I said, was a disruptor for me, and real estate can be that too if we go beyond just the focus of the deal.
Totally.
Right?
They're creating a home too.
Yeah.
I mean, these people, they're nervous, whether they're first buyer, second buyer. I mean, that's a large expense. And if people look at it as just a transaction, which many people do.
Yeah.
And then there's a bad taste in people's mouth of whether it's a commercial real estate broker or a residential broker. And a lot of it, there's a good reason for it. Our goal is to shift that and say, you can trust us.
Yeah.
We're here to help.
Technology is going to be a part of the relationship now with a realtor, especially on the real estate side. I'd imagine it's connecting on your industry as well, but there's always going to be the relational component. And if we trust in that and invest, almost double down now on the relationship side of the business, the real estate agent isn't going anywhere. But it's just understanding that and putting value in that and realizing that relationship doesn't just happen overnight. It takes time. And like you said, if I can't help you in the transaction, but I can help you in other categories of life, then that's awesome too. Right?
And the huge thing on that, when it even comes to selfless service, but it being some way to grow your business, is everyone's a portal to a whole nother world of relationships, right?
Yeah.
If you look at person as a transaction, it's not going to win.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many transactions I've done with someone I've never done a real estate deal with because they've referred me to someone else, or they hired someone else, but I continue to help serve them or figure out other ways to be of service to them or the organization. And whether they leave or they refer me to someone else, it's amazing. And it's way more gratifying doing that than I cold called someone, got a deal, and, on to the next one, Yeah. So. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys being kind of an inspiration on who I am and what I'm trying to create, because it's, whether you know or not, you're a role model to a lot of people in this marketplace. So thank you for that. And
thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Next time we'll have a cocktail or two.
I love it. We'll make up a jingle. That's always a thing,
I'm not much of a singer, so I'll let you know.
Maybe through your relationships in the past, you can get an artist in here or something.
I love it. But is there anything else that we can do to kind of draw people towards either Kaiser, to what you're doing with #Noah, and to
check out #Noah.com. It's that simple, but I would like to leave with we even challenge people to do something simple. Go through your quote unquote Rolodex or your phone, or just find someone to go help out and selflessly serve them. And it feels way cooler doing stuff like that. And it'll be amazing. Write someone a letter to say how much you appreciate them or something, and it goes way, way, way further than again, reach out to someone strictly for a business transaction. So do that. I encourage everyone to do that.
All right, guys. Hashtag Noah.com.
Kaiser.com and KaiserCo.com. And you can also check out Jonathan's new book, which is called You Don't Have to Be Ruthless to Win, which is Amazon top seller. And you can buy it there, too. So
nice.
Got to give him props because he's the man with the idea, but it does take a village. And we're all stoked to help build this thing with him. So
awesome. Well, that one's on my to-read list. I just need these kids to give me a few minutes to read. One of these days, if it's not on my phone, it's hard to get in front of a book. But that one's definitely on the list. I love just the title of it itself. And, he lived it and experienced it from what I understand, and now has completely reinvented himself and has built what is an amazing organization here that is doing a lot of good. So check it out, guys. Follow Noah, and it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, my friend.
Dude. And thanks so much again for having me. This
is
beyond mind-blowing, so I'm very humbled. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. Enjoy your day.
Enjoy
the rest of your day.
Yeah, the rest of the day,
And one last thing, guys. This is the fastest growing hockey state from a youth sport perspective in the country. NHL kicks off tonight. Don't pay attention to the Coyotes. Pay attention to the Vancouver Canucks. They are a hot product. Just going to throw that one out there. The quest for the cup begins tonight for my Vancouver Canucks. So, it's a great time of year in Phoenix. The weather's changing. Sports are kicking in. ASU is ranked 20th in the country. I don't know about you, Vay. The Canucks are back
so far. Depends on, again, when you air this thing. It could get ugly quick.
We'll make sure this gets out fast.
Right.
There's a good chance we're probably going to lose now that we have a rank. We're young. But thanks for everything, my friend.
Absolutely.
And guys, check them out and continue to be change agents in your own ways each and every day. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Awesome.